Hello and welcome to a new video from Thanos. Yes, I can still do that in front of the camera. It's been a long time. I took a little bit of a break documenting my processes just to concentrate on making music and being productive. And it worked out pretty fine. I have two releases coming up pretty soon. But I'm also very happy to have all these old videos that I've done with old projects and albums and recordings that I've done, and it's always beautiful to see that. And there's always something that I completely forgot about, or something that it's impossible to recreate, and I have proof that I've done it for myself. It's funny. So any creative process is good. Either if it inspires you, if it makes it exciting, why don't just do it? So in this new series of videos, I'm going to give you some creative ideas that I usually have in the back of my mind for starting something new. So on this episode, we will talk about making your own samples. Of course, there are like millions of samples online that you can just download, and nowadays you can just there are years now for years now you can just sample any sound on the internet and create something on your own using that sample. But there is a certain energy and that comes from recording your own samples. And what I mean about that, it's about being very attentive, being mindful of the sounds around you. Now, for example, a few days ago, I went to do some tennis training that I sometimes do because I don't want my body to fall apart. And I recorded just the sound there because there was some kind of a machine that was producing this beautiful drone. And of course, it was like in this idyllic area inside the forest, a very beautiful area. And you get all the atmosphere sounds and the reverb, let's say, from that space that this sounds. And let's see how this sample sounds in its original form. So you can hear the drone that I was telling you about. I added some reverb that I always have here connected to my mixer, and a little bit of gain just to give it a little bit more body. You can hear some ball striking and some footsteps. Mainly the ball striking, but it's a little bit more fat with that gain. It's just has a little bit more impact. Now, being there and being mindful of the sounds around me and bringing these sounds in the studio and putting them through a sampler like the Morphogene or any sampler that you have, it immediately takes you somewhere. And it doesn't matter if the sounds you recorded are beautiful or they are somehow fitting in an idea that you had from before. It's just a blank canvas, but it's a starting point. And with this starting point, for example, without adding oscillators or new sounds, I can just process this sample and see if I can get somewhere. So in this case, I have the sample going into the panharmonium, which is resynthesizing the sounds that it hears with its own oscillators. Let's hear it. I added it very subtly in the mix. I will solo it later so you hear it clearly, but as you can hear, we added something without being very obvious what we did. We just made a sound even more full. This panharmonium, I've kept a little bit of a dry signal in there, just because I still want these balls to be hitting. I can have it 100% wet, obviously. And of course, what I can do is I can add this to the reverb connected with the mixer. Anyway, it's actually connected with the mixer. So we have something already even more full, and now the same sample will go into beats, and beats, yeah, we want something more radical in this case, something that transforms these sounds radically, just to add a completely different element for this patch. And I've cut the pieces of this sample at very short time. The size of beats is really small, so it just cuts it in pieces, and I've added a little bit of random pitch just to get more different way of pitches, different pitches in there. And the shape is also being randomly changed. It's not really obvious what's happening, but it's just to add a little bit more variation. Let's hear it. In a way, it fits with the concept. It feels like I'm adding more hitting strikes into the mix. And of course, I can send it's 100% wet. I can send it to a bigger reverb, and then you hear that the impact is gone from these short samples. Let's hear it alone. That's with 100% reverb. That's with 50% reverb. I think I prefer that. I'm somehow adding a little basement where these sounds hit on the walls, while the other sounds are clearly sounds that they're outside in the forest. And this is just something very simple. You can do it with any devices you might have. It's about transforming that same sample that you just took. Another interesting thing to do, let's take the sounds out. I'm just keeping now the original simple sample with the reverb. You can concentrate on one sound by choosing a short part of the sample. I've just noticed that it wasn't panned properly, but anyway, now it is. So yeah, something like a short sample, and then scan through it. For example, that's an interesting sound. The drone will always be there. You can also focus on the chirping of the birds. You can tune it down. Let me put the volume a bit higher. And then see what happens. You can hear it's a completely different sound world again. And the last thing I do with a Morphogene, at least, is time stretching. It's I have this new album out. It's based completely on time stretching on Morphogene and other devices, but Morphogene mainly. I'll leave a link on the description. Now every time it receives a clock, it will just move to the next tiny bit of the sample. It will definitely also get stuck somewhere where this hard attack sounds will be, the striking of the ball. But something interesting is happening in this case. Yeah, you hear it's completely different. And at the same day I have two different more samples. This one's completely different, but it's gonna use the same setting. It's a completely different world, isn't it? Just an octave down. Let's hear the original. Of course, we have the time stretching, which is difficult to recognize your sounds, obviously. I have to turn everything back just to start all over again. But this is things you can do also live while recording or playing live, because Morphogene is not gonna jump immediately. It's just gonna give you some time to adapt. So there's this interesting sound in there. You just go focus on that again. For example, and then tune it up. Yeah, why not? 2 octaves down. This is better. And then I can turn the pitch of beats up. Actually beats is not in there. It's still doing this thing, but maybe... or even a pitch down on the beat also. Yeah. Okay, I wasn't planning this, but anyway, I'm somewhere completely different from where I started, and you can go back to that, see what happens. Yeah, it's a very dark space. Anyway, so you see, my point is, it's about the beginning of a creative project. You need an idea, a spark that will get you going. So be mindful of the sounds around you. Be ready to record at any time. Recording with a proper recorder is, of course, great, because then you can just focus on some details from the sound, but you can just record it with your phone, and you just get you usually don't get the low frequency information, but you can easily create more lo-fi textures. It's completely fine. I mean, for example, bird sounds with your phone, totally fine. So this is it. I hope it's interesting, this new series. I'm going to be sharing, I think I have 2 more as ideas, and we'll see from there. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.